Welcome back. Microsoft has come under fire from a Dutch privacy watchdog that alleges it collected consumer data from personal computers using its Windows 10 package. Earlier, I was joined by legal and media analyst Lionel of Lionel Media, and I first asked him, is this at all surprising?
Aren't you actually becoming more and more used to this? Don't you find yourself saying, well, what are you going to do? You get the browse. I mean, after all, actually, it's not hours. And I mean, when you go online, you kind of give up your privacy. I mean, don't you kind of sort of think that a little bit?
Oh, yeah.
And that's what scares me, because it shouldn't be like that. Let me ask you a question. Let's assume you're driving in your new car, and unbeknownst to you, your car provides GPS information as to where you go, how many bars you go to, how many restaurants you go to, what part of town you go to, how many people are in your car, how fast do you drive, how often you drive, how late do you drive. And then it takes that information and it feeds it to your insurance company or insurance companies or the police or retailers. And all of a sudden you're getting information in the mail because now your whereabouts. Let me go a step further. It records what you say. Do you have an OnStar kind of thing? Do you have these neat devices where you talk to your dashboard or you talk and it's voice activated? You think that's terrific. Well, believe it or not, your PC, your Mac, your unit is listening to what you're saying. Have you ever gotten an ad all of a sudden for something you were just talking about? Somebody dies, somebody in your family, God forbid, passes away, and next thing you know, there's funeral plots and burial plots. It's like, how did it know we were talking about this? How would you feel if your car, instead of your browser, provided this information? See, that's what scares me. Actually, it's our data, weird data. And just because we use these devices, just because we sign off on things and don't read the fine print, doesn't mean that everything that we do, everything that we read, everyone that we're with, that this is knowledge for everybody. I never consented to that. Just because I want to go to Google Maps doesn't mean I want people to listen to what I'm saying in the privacy of my own home.
Sounds a little scary, Lionel. Thanks for pointing that out. Now, what duties, if any, do tech giants owe consumers?
Well, one thing that has to be done is they have to be more transparent. Now, you know and I know, everybody knows that I can bury in the fine print of contracts. Even the law says that certain contracts have to have a certain font size, a certain print. They have to know that they cannot hide behind this idea like, well, Ashley signed up for our TOS, our terms of service, the terms and conditions of this. That's number one. But what is the most important thing that we as a society can do is what we're doing right now, and letting people question more, but also know more. I want, and we want, I hope, the consumer and the individual specifically, and also especially the millennials who were born into captivity, who don't know what privacy means, who never lived without surveillance, to understand that they can say something. And once we as a consumer say, we don't like these browsers, hey, Microsoft or Mac or whatever it is, stop this. We're going to go elsewhere. And to let the other people say, guess what, Ashley, we have a brand new browser, a brand new system that doesn't track you. Or we're going to be very upfront with how you can disengage and disenable the ability for us to track you. Just because you're using a browser, just because you purchase something, does not mean you're giving up your privacy. Does not mean that you're giving everything about you up to this cloud. We never signed on to that.
Lionel, we're a little short on time. Now, if companies like Microsoft, other companies are collecting pertinent data on U.S. citizens, I'm curious to know who exactly owns this data.
That's the million-dollar question. And the answer, unfortunately, is they do. Because what we've done, by virtue of purchasing this, we've unfortunately and tacitly consented to it. Because their argument is that nobody forced you to buy this. You don't have to use Microsoft. You don't have to have this computer. You don't have to do this. There's a certain degree of privacy that one gives up. I mean, when you have a phone, you know that people might be able to hear you. If you're on the old wireless, somebody could hear you. I mean, things can go wrong just because. So if you don't want this, If you don't want to risk this, don't use it. Well, that argument doesn't apply anymore, because with the genius that these people employ on a day-to-day basis, they can certainly use that genius to mean that they can ensure our privacy and our safe being and our self.
We're going to have to leave it right there. Lionel, thank you so much for your insight. That was Lionel of Lionel Media. Thanks again.
Thank you.